We all just witnessed probably the craziest bowling match of all time. But it actually becomes crazier when you look at how these two bowlers got here. First, we have Tackett. He's been the best bowler in the world for the past few years. He already won 2 titles at this point, and is the favorite by far to win Player of the Year. Then, there's Fiore. He never won a title, and never even made a TV show. He's only 20, and for this Mike Aulby Nevada Classic tournament, he doesn't even qualify. He needs to first bowl the PTQ, where only 5 bowlers get in. But after 7 amazing games, he takes the top spot with a 240 average, earning him a spot in the tournament. There, his momentum continued, with him leading the tournament with a crazy 253 average, averaging almost 10 pins above everyone else, including Tackett. After a few more rounds, he was no longer leading, but still held his ground to make the show. Right above him was the best in the world, Tackett. In the first match, another young bowler, Alec Kamplinger, was able to beat Jesper Svensson, but then Ethan was able to beat Alec. This led to the match you all were waiting for, Tackett versus Fiore. Ethan is using an Evoke Hysteria, a strong Ace Pearl ball, which worked pretty well for him last game. He's playing pretty deep on the lanes, hitting the middle arrow and throwing the ball pretty slow. His first shot's not bad, and gets lucky to get a messenger for the 5 pin. is using the exact same ball as Ethan, but playing much more straight. He's a whole arrow right, and throwing the ball much faster. And his first shot is excellent, splitting the 8-9. His next shot also looks pretty good, but the ball hooks a bit too late, leading to a light shot in a ring 10. Meanwhile, Ethan is staying clean. On the right lane, he throws a perfect shot, splitting the 8-9. On the left lane, to account for his slight shot, he's moving a bit to the right and slowing down his ball a very slight amount. This is a perfect adjustment to get this flush strike. The right lane doesn't seem to be a problem for either of them, as EJ gets another flush strike. To take care of the ring 10, EJ actually makes a pretty similar adjustment as Ethan. Moves slightly right and slows down the ball speed a little bit. The ball still goes slightly light, but this time gets a messenger to take out the 10 pin. Ethan doesn't like his next shot on his right lane, but still throws a pretty good strike. On the left lane though, he thinks he throws a pretty good shot, but I believe this ball is slightly too fast, leading to a light shot in a weak 10. Once again, the right lane is not a problem. I think EJ throws it a bit faster here, but he throws another perfect strike. Because his last shot on the left lane was a bit light, he's going to move a bit to the right here and slow down the ball a little bit again. This time, he takes care of the 10 pin, but now leaves a 7. And then, something similar happens to Ethan. On the right lane, he speeds up a little bit and gets a flush strike. On the left lane, he previously left the 10 pin. I think he might have moved slightly right here, but it's an under adjustment and he 10 pins again. EJ then stays perfect on his right lane, but then he's back on his tricky left lane. I'm not sure what his move was here, maybe move left slightly and try to play a straighter line, since sending the ball out on this lane left to not the greatest pin carry. But I think he tugs the ball way too much in here, and he knows it immediately as this ball goes really high. He covers the spare nicely, but now leaves the door wide open for Ethan. Ethan's next ball on his right lane seems a bit fast, but he stays perfect on this lane, getting a mixing strike. But now he's back in his left lane, where he's still trying to carry that 10 pin. This time, I think he slows down his ball speed even more, and throws a better shot, which was fortunate enough to take out the 10 pin. If EJ still wants a chance, he should strike out. As we all know, this right lane has never been an issue. So let's go to the tricky left lane. On this shot, I think you can see what he was trying to do on his last shot on this lane. Moves a bit left, a bit faster ball speed, and keeping the ball a bit straighter. This does give him better carry, and gets a flush strike. Knowing he has a pretty good line, he was also pretty confident with his second shot, getting another strike. On his last shot, the ball also looks good, but leaves a ringing 10 pin. This now opens the door for a tie if Ethan spare strikes. Ethan has been perfect on this right lane, but his last few shots, he has started to lose the pocket, going a bit light. This shot is no different. It almost gets a mixer, but leaves a 7 pin. He does make it, but he has to strike this last shot to tie up the game. His adjustment from the last shot is brilliant. He moves slightly left, and just throws the ball over a whole mile an hour slower. This is a perfect adjustment, and now he hits flush in the pocket, tying up the game. Now, we're on to the roll-off. Both bowlers have pretty much found their spots in both lanes, so now it's about who executes better. EJ's last few shots on his left lane didn't look bad, so he doesn't change much, and he gets rewarded with another strike. Ethan also doesn't change too much on the left lane, maybe moving a bit to the right to try to carry that 10 pin. Surprisingly, the ball goes quite light, but he does get a mixer. EJ stays perfect on his right lane with another strike. With how well he's done in this lane, I'm quite surprised he chose the left lane to start on. Maybe he thought Ethan was worse on that lane, but who knows. But Ethan has also figured out this right lane pretty much, and throws another flush strike. On the left lane, EJ might have moved a very slight amount right, to try to get the ball to pick up a bit earlier and carry that 10 pin. And this shot's actually better than his last, getting a flush strike. With Ethan's last shot being a mixer on this lane, he wants to get closer to the pocket for a better chance of striking. I can't really tell what he did, maybe move a tiny bit right, but this ball picks up much better and gets a flush strike. I don't think there's much to talk about in this right lane. Minimal adjustments from both bowlers, but they're pretty much both perfect on this lane. With his last shot picking up a bit early, I think EJ does speed up his ball a bit on his left lane. This works out and he strikes again. Ethan then moves a bit left in his left lane, not too sure why, but his ball speed is also a bit too fast here. Luckily, this mistake goes unpunished, and he gets yet another mixer strike. On the right lane, EJ once again has no problems, but Ethan might be getting a bit nervous. This is probably his first shot of the match, with his ball going way out right, but somehow it comes back and gets the 2-pin to drop. EJ continues to strike on the left lane. It's crazy how consistent he has been so far. All these shots are pretty much flush in the pocket, whereas Ethan has already gone light several times on both lanes. Knowing that his last few shots were light, Ethan is going to move a bit right here and slow down his ball a little bit. Unluckily, this was not enough. Even what he thought was a good shot went light again, leaving a 7-pin. Even with how good both these bowlers are, you can still kind of see levels to this game. On the left lane, EJ made a really smart move to move his breakpoint in, which pretty much let him strike out in the left lane. Meanwhile, Ethan was struggling all game to hit the left lane flush in the pocket, and unfortunately by the end of the game, it cost him the match. But with all that bowling, it definitely got EJ tired as well, and maybe even caused him to wear down his spot a bit too much, leading to a much tougher last game, where he lost the title match. We've seen pretty long roll-offs before, but I'm not sure if we'll ever match something to this magnitude, with both players almost throwing a perfect game.